With the Kabuto, Kajiki, and Tora Origami finally recovered after all this time, it's time to dole out the responsibility for who's going to take care of them in battle. Well, Shinken Red chooses himself to be the pilot of the Tora Origami, and he tells Shinken Blue that he'll be taking care of the Kajiki Origami, leaving the Kabuto Origami undecided. After a little deliberation with himself, Takeru chooses Shinken Pink to be the pilot of the Kabuto Origami. Well, Shinken Green doesn't like this very much for two reasons. One, he's been working hard on improving his Mojikara capability, and two, a female was chosen over him to be the extra pilot? Outrageous. During battle against the Nayakashi monster, Shinken Pink loses the Kabuto disc just before she uses it, but Green recovers it. But rather than give it back to her, he tries to use it on his wood spear. But alas, he still does not have a firm grasp on Mojikara, and he is not able to utilize it properly. After a little bit of gentle re-education, Shinken Green finally finds a way to make Mojikara his own. So when the battle scales up, Shinken Pink decides to give Green the Kabuto disc because she thinks that he's more worthy. And he's also a guy, and she's a girl, so she doesn't really deserve it anyways. And so, that little episode aside, Shinken Green becomes the regular pilot of the Kabuto Origami. Problem solved. With this minor issue of piloting responsibilities dealt with, the Shinkenger will finally be able to put together a legendary bird creature known as the DaiTenkuu. That doesn't look too bad. Take off the legs. And something else I wasn't quite expecting, you take off the upper horn. So I guess it wasn't for safety reasons that this was able to separate, because, well, it's actually part of the transformation. Next up is the Kajiki, which is actually quite simple. And next the Tora Origami, which is simple, just remove stuff. And that's it. The combination for the wing sections is actually quite simple. Oh, who knew that you would take the legs from down here, just put them up here? Interesting, eh? And the same for the other side, although you might want to move one of those ventral fins. One of nothing, that one. And that's it. And the tail, just open this up, and you're going to open up the Tora's head, slide that in there. Actually, you're going to want to turn it around, Ava. And you're wondering what this little gap was here for. It's to accommodate this joint right here, the space for this joint. So it actually does lock itself into position. And that's that. Fold up the tail. Again, that still doesn't snap into place. It just pegs into place, which is annoying. Stick it on top of the horn. And then, so there was a reason why the horn of the Kabuto was PVC. Because it actually contains a little pair of eyes. That's the head of the DaiTenkuu. We'll deal with the body of the DaiTenkuu. And they'll snap in place. Attach the head there. So there's the body. Easy enough. You with me so far? Okay, good. Now let's put it all together. And there you have the Samurai Gattai DaiTenkuu. Because the three individual origami don't have any posability to them, with the exception of the mouth or these legs, the DaiTenkuu naturally doesn't have any posability options either. Not even a little mouth. You know, it's just this little PVC peg thingy. This doesn't even come out solidly, and you really got to grab onto it when you transform it. I just don't like that. But yeah, anyways, no posability in the feathers. Although the feathers, you know, they're PVC, so, you know, what else do you expect? But, you know, no feet. Why the hell is there a tiger's head underneath the tail? I don't get that. What purpose does that serve? Anyways, so, yeah, not much happening here. The only thing you have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wheels. so can actually roll quite well. Not 10 wheels, but 9 wheels. Because the Kajiki only has 3 wheels, which makes it uneven. Rolling around it is one option. And in the series, it's got, razor-sharp feathers. And it can shoot an energy bolt from this crown. Is this what this is, a crown? I'm not sure. Anyways, yeah, it can shoot a ring of fire, I guess, from the crown, I guess. However, the only purpose for the existence of the DaiTenkuu is so that you can combine all 3 secret disc gimmicks into one giant gimmick. Sure, you release the catch levers where need be. Make sure you grab this in the right position, which is not exactly an easy thing to do because you have to worry about 3 secret discs, the heads, and the Tora's legs. And when you twirl this, you get and yes, even the legs underneath. Now, I don't know if it's just a problem with mine or if this is a problem across the board, but you actually have to... Here, let's see. Okay, yeah, now that it's on YouTube, it won't do it. But when I initially start out at a slower pace, hear that clicking sound? That's actually the gears synchronizing in the 2 wing segments. So spinning it fast actually seems to be the way to avoid that. And let's see. The trick is to get this lined up correctly on the first try. You can hear it clicking as I do that, so that I can re-engage the catch levers. And of course, if you turn this, the Tora's legs will turn, but the gear systems in the 2 wings will protest quite loudly. And so that is the finishing attack gimmick that the DaiTenkuu has for its finisher. A lot of episode 12 doesn't have much to do with mecha, and more to do with character development. However, when the battle escalates to giant size, Shinken Blue informs the others that it's time to cast away the hard work of their ancestors and push along into the future with new ideas, and new weapons, and new combinations. And so he gives them this little diagram-filled coloring book, which informs them how to make a brand new Chou Samurai Gattai, which has never been seen before. We've seen this happen how many times now? 3 to be exact. For my own sanity, I'm going to remove the Daishinken. You know, it's kind of funny. Moving the head in and out like that is really the only transformation involved in assembling the DaiTenkuu. How about that? Now you don't have to take the tail off to pull the head out. I'm going to pull the bottom 2 legs off, and then the upper 2 legs turn around 180. That's it for that. I'm going to take the 2 legs that we pulled off and attach them to these holes in the chest, because we want to make sure that the line is protected so that he sees, hears, and speaks no evil. Ha ha ha. Now the instructions tell you to put the helmet on first, but I don't do that. The same 3 pegs we've had to deal with all this time, and you just can use those same connection points from the Tora Origami. So you need a good grip here, which I don't have. Kind of a weird fit, but whatever. So that's there. That's tight fit. You do not use the little yellow connector, by the way. And ordinarily, for the Tora Shinken-Oh, you would have this up. You want to keep this down. Stick the crown in, like so. But then, because its load's different, you stick that there. Stick that on there, like that. And you get the Tenkuu Shinken-Oh. Oh, yeah. The Chou Samurai Gattai Tenkuu Shinken-Oh. It's pretty clear you don't buy the 3 origami for their posability or what they contribute to the posability of the Tenkuu Shinken-Oh, so I'm not even going to discuss posability. The tail of the DaiTenkuu does indeed hold it upright quite nicely, but the main gimmick, of course, is the finishing attack for the back. Catch lever, and twist it really fast. Now notice that, let's see. There we go. See, I'm always having to play this little game of how can you get this straightened out and this turned at the same time. Be nice if, one turn got you one turn over here, but it doesn't. However, you'll notice that while the back 2 drills turn, the front 2 do not, but they are freely, they can freely turn. So, yeah, whatever. And that's it. That's really the only gimmick or special advantage you have to this toy. So, the question that has burned in our minds for the last 3 months has finally been answered. What those lopsided wings were for. Now, I can understand that clearance was necessary in order to, give a little space between these claw, pointy, whatever these things are supposed to be on the end here. I can understand giving that space, but as I mentioned in 2 previous videos, why is it that these were not separatable to begin with? I mean, why not have them plug into here? I mean, the whole damn thing is a parts former. Why not just, I don't know, compose it of more parts? That was really unnecessary in my opinion. I really, really didn't like that, because it really dragged down the Kajiki and the Kabuto from being standalone toys. I mean, yeah, they don't do very well on their own, but sticking those there means you have to get the Tora Origami eventually in order to find out what's going on. And is the end result really worth it? I don't think so. Not particularly, but However, just in case you're wondering, this isn't actually the first time in Super Sentai history where nothing but accessory mecha were used for a combination unto themselves. That distinction actually belongs to the Go-Go Gattai DaiTenkuu from the 2006 Super Sentai Series Go-Go Sentai Bokenger. This is composed of nothing but accessory mecha. It was all used for arms and a backpack, giant chest cannon, which we actually never saw on the show, but that's besides the point. Anyways, yeah, that was the first one. And while the DaiTenkuu was a little wide from the front view and it had a little bit of kibble sitting on the back, that's just it. It had a little kibble sitting on the back, and each Go-Go vehicle by itself was actually really cool. It did something uniquely. It was a standalone. Okay, you kind of needed other sets in order to interact with the Go-Go Jet, but still, good toys at the time, And the combo wasn't too bad, despite the fact that it was really wide from her front view. And his face was really fat. And it was only used like twice in the series. Actually, no, it was used once in the series and it debuted in the movie. But that's another discussion for another review. The question of the Samurai Gattai DaiTenkuu ultimately becomes, is it worth spending the, $79 or whatever it is, to get these 3 toys in order to get that spinning disc gimmick? For $79, I would say no. The Tora Origami, by far, is the most flexible of the 3. It actually has posability to it. It has the most sound of the Samurai Busou modes. And it actually looks kinda sorta nice when it's combined with Shinken-Oh. The other 2 are just disasters, and it's up to personal interpretation, however you see fit. And yeah, while it is interesting to see 3 toys work with each other by a manual hand crank, by the way, and to see something on each toy spin around or move on its own, craptacular nose on the Kajiki, by the way, I don't think it was worth the sacrifice of transformation, posability, and even just the look, the style, the design style that was set by the origami in the Shinken-Oh was not carried on strictly because these had to be very simple in transformation in order to achieve the DaiTenkuu's ultimate attack feat. And to me, that's not really good excuse. If the origami on the Shinken-Oh had each had a secret disc gimmick on their own and had been block formers from the start, honestly, my opinions would have been different. I probably wouldn't have bought them, first of all, because they were such simple transformations. I don't like block formers, and I don't like parts formers. But again, it would have been consistent with itself. There are very few things about this toy that I actually like. The fact that it even has wings, I mean, these kind of sort of work. They're kind of swept forward. These tips here are off-center. One is higher than the other. These feathers are crap. It's got these huge blocky things, which is like an entire mecha on each wing. That's crap. Oh yeah, and the Tora's head is completely neglected by sitting down here. But honestly, I kind of like the 4 propeller effect thingies here. That's kind of nice. I like the head. That's not too bad. I'm kind of trying to decide if I like the tail or not. That's questionable at best. And so, yeah, really, the head, I don't know, is this supposed to be a crown, antlers, or a halo? I'm trying to decide. I don't know the ancient Japanese culture well enough to pick up the significance of that, if there is any significance to it. But anyways, the DaiTenkuu is kind of like the individual origami. It's not very good by itself. In fact, the only thing this really has going for it is it's big, it has 3 toys that have the same gimmick, which are activated together when they're combined, and that's it. That's not really worth almost $80, in my opinion. And so the issues that I have with each individual origami are just simply magnified when you get the Samurai Gattai DaiTenkuu. And when I don't like the individual ones, that means I really don't like the combo. So, no, not worth it. Not at all. There's a couple of small things that bug me with the combination, or rather with this toy. The first one is the connection point between Shinken-Oh and Daishinken. It's this black part right here. Now, this part is used for the Tora Shinken-Oh. Basically what happens is this flips over, and then you attach it in this fashion to the back. Okay, so it's just flipped over. So we know it's been established that these work and fit on here. Okay, that works. That's fine. Now here's my problem. And that is the connection between everything is not as solid as I would like it to be. Now, I don't think it's a weight issue. I don't think it's that. But with this tail, the tail is solid enough. You would expect to be able to hold it here, put a little pressure here, whatever. You hold it here and fly this thing all over the place. Well, because of the way that comes out, and it's a little difficult to describe, you can't really hold it. Oh, right there. Because these 2 clips here don't hold on nearly as well as I expected them to. What we got with the Tora Shinken-Oh was fine, but with this, it's a little on the flimsy side. So even though it connects correctly, you can't fly it around the room as easily as you would expect. And considering the Tora Shinken-Oh is supposed to be able to fly, that's a disappointment in and of itself. So I always end up holding it with both hands, which kind of ruins the effect. You want to be able to hold it one place back here, hold it back here, and then look at it. And sometimes it works, or sometimes, one side will snap while the other one will stay on, and then it'll just collapse. It's a bit unpredictable. So I don't really have to force it on camera in order to show it to you. And the other thing is, and this is just a original design thing. What compelled Plex to take the legs off of here and stick them up here? I mean, these are big enough in front here, and they're pointy enough that they're worthy of being put on a Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, look at those things, how pointy those things are, and they stick out in the right places too. It's kind of creepy. And really, is that supposed to be some sort of a guard or something? I don't know. Just And really, when you activate the feature back here, which, by the way, this connection back here, I'm having to push inwards on both halves when I do this. Why is it that these back two were allowed to stay, and yet the front two had to be separated? I mean, why not design it from the start? Just have the legs stay in there. I don't get that. There's actually a lot that I don't get on this toy, and I've dedicated many hours, I guess, to the issue. It's a parts former, it's a block former, but is it a cluster Megazord? I'm inclined to say no, for two reasons. One, the component count. There's only 8 mecha here, and in my opinion, cluster Megazords usually start getting parts heavy around 9 or 10. I know it's a difference of one number, but still, I'm being picky. This isn't really a cluster. This is 3 mecha attached as a backpack. Your average cluster Megazord, by definition, has tons of components and parts wrapped all around it. I see 2 on the chest, 2 on the head, and a huge backpack. To me, that doesn't really count. If these 3 parts formers had attached to the arms, to the legs, to the chest, to the head, and to the backpack, yeah, I agree, it would have been a cluster Megazord, but not at this point. I don't know Japanese warrior aesthetic, which Shinkenger is kind of trying to shoot for, but this totally doesn't do it for me. I mean, that helmet is kind of trying to recreate the helmet from the Shinken-Oh, but I don't think it does it very effectively, because it's literally one step away from the Tora Shinken-Oh's head. That's just inexcusable. And this doesn't strike me really as an upgrade of any kind. First of all, it's a bird, so it's supposed to have big wings, and it has to be able to look like it flies in some fashion or other. But this one doesn't do it because it's too fat, it's too ugly, and oh yeah, by the way, it's a parts former. I can remember times in Super Sentai history where the flying gimmick is supposed to work. It's supposed to make the robo agile in the air. This just makes it look heavy. Now, if it had rocket boosters on it, okay, that would piss me off because, well, it has rockets on folding paper mecha, but at least that would be something. I mean, this is absolutely, it just flies. You know, put some rocket engines on that thing or something, you know? But for an upgrade, it kind of puts the whole origami transformation tree to shame. And really, if I had the choice, I'd just take these 2 front legs and stick them in the back. But unfortunately, all the joints are covered up or they're blocked in some fashion. I can't use them. Maybe I could, like, stick them on the arms or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, the Tenkuu Shinken-Oh, not really all that great. It's supposed to be a flying upgrade, but it doesn't work. It's supposed to have this really neat gimmick, but so much a sacrifice to give us this 3-way combo that the design just kind of collapses in on itself, and I'm really not happy about that. The Shinken-Oh by itself, definitely worth it. High priced, but worth it. But having to pay an additional $80 for this? No. No, that's not worth it. In the past 3 accessory origami reviews that I've done, I've told you that you're just supposed to take the Shinken-Oh's helmet off, just throw it off to the side. Well, a number of YouTubers have commented that it actually is possible to store the Shinken-Oh's helmet inside of the Shinken-Oh when it's not in use. And this, of course, is something that you won't find in the instructions. Fold this down. Now, ordinarily, it sits on the Ryu origami, but the joint that you need to set it on is in there, and it won't fit. What you can do instead, like I said, this is not in the instructions, so you can fiddle around, stick it in there, and voila! So it actually is possible to stick the Shinken-Oh's helmet inside the Ryu origami, even when it's combined. Thanks for pointing that out, guys. I appreciate it. And now, it amazes me the level of stupidity people have on YouTube, so I'm going to address this now because I probably won't get another chance. As of the posting of this video, this is as far as I've gone with
the toys for Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. I hate this thing. I used it once in the review for the Shinken-Oh, and it's been collecting dust ever since. I hate this thing. I don't like this thing. I'll probably keep it just so I can whip it out one day and laugh at it. And say, they were so stupid back then. Boy, they sure make good ones now. And even though I'm not really thrilled with this thing, it allowed me to show off the animation effects. That's literally the only reason why I got the Shinken-Maru. It's just so I could show off the animation of the secret discs. But as far as mecha go, this is pretty much it. I might get the Ika Origami, and I'm kind of sort of wanting to shoot for the Kyoryu Origami, which is basically the dinosaur version of this. It functions just like that, except it's got a dinosaur head on the front. It's a remold, and it actually serves as a giant sword for Shinken-Oh. Anyways, I'd like to get the Kyoryu Origami, and maybe the Ika Origami, so I can make the Ika Tenku Buster just for the heck of it. But I will absolutely, positively, never, ever, ever, ever buy the DX Daikaio, the DX Daigoyo, or the DX Mogyu Daio. Those things, those three toys, fail miserably. They look bad in their animal forms, they look bad in their robot modes, and they look especially bad in their combined modes. And yes, the Samurai Hao is the cluster Megazord that we avoided with this. So I am not covering those three. Do not ask. If you ask, I will delete your comments. One of my big complaints about the Shinken-Maru was that it could not uniquely identify each secret disc when it was put in. It just has 6 generic sounds that kind of sound like a line. It's basically used for the first 6 episodes, and then the sound effects become pointless. Well, that's why Bandai and Plex gave us the Iron-Maru, which is an add-on accessory piece to the Shinken-Maru. So basically, it does separately what the Shinken-Maru should have done by itself from the start. Every single secret disc, and I honestly didn't notice this until long after Shinkenger ended, because this is 2010 right now, by the way. Each secret disc has a little triangle sitting at the top so that you can orient the disc. Now, it doesn't mean a lot. For any of these toys, it doesn't mean anything. And really, you're not supposed to notice it during the animation. Every single secret disc has a unique little tab on it. Some of them have 2 prongs. Some of them it's a wide band. Some of them it's a couple of dots. And each and every one of those bands right there is located right next to the triangle. That is how each of these discs is uniquely identified by the Iron-Maru. But again, I'm not going to get the Iron-Maru because 1, it's ugly as hell, and 2, I'm not going to contribute to Bandai and Plex's profits by buying that piece of crap when they should have put it in this thing to begin with. So, yeah. The toy line from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger, I was not impressed with, really. The only thing I was genuinely like, oh my god, I have to get that, was the Shinken-Oh. And that was it. Everything else, since these were necessities, well, actually, maybe not that, I don't know. But those 3 were necessities. The Ika Origami, like I said, I might get it. The Kyoryu Origami is a repaint, which it's actually kind of a cool repaint, and it can interact with the Shinken-Oh. But otherwise, I'm done with the toy line from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. But you know what? There's just this one little thing I gotta say. In spite of all the ranting and the long commentaries that I've made, I still find myself drawn to those accessory origami. Even though they're parts formers, even though they're block formers, even though the DaiTenkuu is crap, even though the Tenkuu Shinken-Oh is crap, I still kinda find them interesting. Is this perhaps the last threads of the franchise which I'm trying desperately to hang on to at all costs? I hope not, because I don't want to pay Plex and Bandai for crap anymore. They need to get their act together. And the Origami Mecha line from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger illustrates this quite clearly. Oh, and by the way, the chances of my covering anything at all from the 2010 Super Sentai Series Tensou Sentai Goseiger are slim to none. So, please stop asking. Seriously, I'm tired of answering that question. And now as the credits run, let me dazzle you one last time with that awesome theme song. This is Ava Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com, signing off.
She